he hasn't had a normal upbringing compared to, babies outside of lockdown. So when it comes to the stage where he may go to nursery, for example, I think that will be quite a shock to him, seeing other babies and socializing. And I have noticed, if we go out in public, I think he becomes quite overstimulated and overwhelmed.
For more on this, let's cross over to TRT World's health correspondent Nicola Hill joins me now from London. Nicola, it's a fascinating topic to analyze how COVID-19 has affected child development. What are psychologists really worried about here?
Well, as you say, it is a fascinating topic, and they fear it's one that has not had enough research involved. They say there's a bit of a baby blind spot. Now, there has been a little bit done by an organisation called the Parent Infant Foundation that's based here in the UK. And they say the first 1001 days of a baby's life, now that's from conception until they're 2 years old, are vital. That's when there's so much development is underway. And they fear that there's been 5 hidden harms during this pandemic. And if I just quickly list them for you, they say there's an increased likelihood to traumatic exposure, an indirect health risk because of being confined indoors so much, particularly when we've had all the lockdowns, risk of harm in developmental because of restricted social interaction, because they haven't been able to see other people because of everybody wearing masks, risk of increased parental stress. And this is something that they underline, that, because so many people have been having to combat working from home, not having family support, not having friend support. So of course they've been stressed, and that will have an impact on the baby. And then an increased likelihood of malnutrition and hunger because many people have been in financially straitened circumstances. So they say these hidden harms have not really been taken into account, and there's a real fear that we don't know as yet what impact that's actually going to have on a baby. Andrea, who in my report there, she said it's, as she said, it's very mixed. It's been great that they've had that time together. She didn't have the pressures of having to feel that within a week after giving birth, she had to look all smart and have the baby ready out to show to everybody. She and her husband could have that one-to-one time. They could stay at home and they could get to know baby Finn slowly. But she also didn't have any support. She didn't have the friends, the National Childbirth Trust, which is a charity here in the UK, the other members of that, to get together at the very beginning. And she appreciated very much that she has a husband, she has a lovely home, she has the space, but was aware of so many new mums, perhaps single parents, struggling with absolutely no help at all. And this is something that the psychologists and the Parent Infant Foundation were also worried about, the fact that health visitors were not able to check up on babies in person. They were doing the best they could with Zoom calls, but it's not quite the same as having, and I can tell you as somebody who's had 2 children, having that person come to you and actually help you and advise you is fantastic when you're a new mum. And a lot of new mums have not been able to have that.
Yeah. I hear your 5 hidden dangers that have been sort of put out by these psychologists. What do they want to happen? And more importantly, what should parents do?
Well, they want to raise awareness, which is what we're doing here on TRT World today, but they also want to make sure that more research is undertaken so that they can see what the long-term impact is going to be on the development of babies. They say that there have been figures showing increase in abuse of children. I mean, here in the UK, local authorities have reported an increase by 1/5 during April to October last year of injured young children and even dying, and 40% of those were under the age of 1. So they say we've really got to ensure that better measures are put in place to support new parents, because they say again, parental stress can really impact the development of a new baby, and that's something that people perhaps don't really understand. So as far as parents are concerned, the main thing they're saying is to stimulate your baby, play with them. Obviously, many parents have been having to juggle working via Zoom from home or working virtually from home with dealing with childcare, because that's the other issue, is that a lot of the childcare has not been available during the pandemic. So they realise it's hard, but they say the best thing that new parents can do is play, stimulate your child, be involved with them as much as you possibly can. And with the opening up of lockdowns, make sure you can take your baby out. Again, Andrea was saying then that she fears that Finn was overstimulated now when he goes outside, and that's something other new parents have said to me, the same thing. So perhaps introduce this gradually. But what's the long-term development? We don't know. We have to wait and see in a few years and see what impact that's had on babies.
All right. Nicola Hill, thank you very much for that live for us from London. Thank you.